All right, welcome back. And we are going to talk about the municipal certificate process for your sale in this next video. So, depending on what municipality you live in, the municipality may require one or two of these certificates. The first one is the smoke certificate, and that is the certificate of fire safety. And all municipalities require this, but some also require a certificate of occupancy. And that is a inspection where the township comes to your property and they actually do their own miniature inspection to see if the property meets their standards of resale. Now, every municipality also has a different name for this. So I'm going to use the word certificate of occupancy here, but it could be certificate of conformity. It could be certificate of continued occupancy. The municipalities have their own names for these, and it can get very confusing. But all that matters is that you know what your township requires, and your listing agent should be helping you with this. And our office will also be making sure that we are helping you stay on track with this process if you choose to work with us. So, sometimes also the townships include the fire certificate inspection with the certificate of occupancy inspection. So it all depends on, again, the requirements. But what matters to you is that typically, in order to sell the property, so long as this is what was agreed upon in attorney review, the seller is responsible to get these certificates. Now, usually, attorney review will carve out some cap so that the seller is only responsible to get it up to a particular dollar amount, and anything after that can be negotiated between the parties. But one of the reasons why this provision remains at large but doesn't really end up getting utilized a lot is because if you go to the buyer and you say, hey, buyer, so I went to have my inspection and I'm only responsible for $750 of repairs. I did all that, but there's $5,000 more of repairs that need to be done, and it's on you. They would then have the right to cancel. And oftentimes, a buyer is going to tell you, get lost. Like, I don't want to be responsible for those things, especially just like we talked about in the lender video or the financing video. What that would mean is the buyer has to make those repairs prior to closing and get the certificate of occupancy. It also, let's say the buyers are like, I'm cool, I'll do it, but only after closing. Then what that means is the buyer would have to be willing to accept what's called a temporary certificate of occupancy. And sometimes the towns don't even allow that. So as you can see, all of this, as always, depends on one, the facts of your transaction, two, where your property is, three, what the issues are that the town brings up, and four, how the parties feel about all of this. But for the purpose of this video, what I want you to know is to have the expectation that you need these certificates for closing and that it's important to apply for them and get the inspection process rolling. Now, this is something that you could do prior to accepting an offer. A lot of people wait to do it during the transaction process. But if you do feel like you want to know everything that's going on with your property before you sell it, this is something you could do sooner than later. And it's really something that could benefit you in having it already taken care of by the time you get to the closing table or actually just get an offer. So one thing to note is to ask the municipality if this is a step you're going to take. How long are these certificates valid for? Because they do tend to have certificate expirations. So they could expire like 6 months from issuance, a year from issuance, something like that. So it's important to know when they expire. Now, legally, let's say what happens if you close without one? What will happen is the buyer will be subjected to fines, and the municipality could accrue those fines over time because it is technically like not legal to close without the certificate. So that's why they come up as very important. Another thing that can come up during the inspection process is that the municipality will look in their permit history and they won't be able to issue the certificate if any permits are open. So if you know of any open permits, getting those closed before you apply for the CO or the smoke or both, whatever your town requires, is a way to get a leg up on things because they will be looking at the permit history and they definitely cannot issue those certificates without permits. So This was a short one, but just to give you a brief introduction into what is required for the CO process so that you have an idea of what to expect. And congratulations, we are getting so close to the closing table in our video series. So we have a couple videos coming up. The next one will be about title clearance, and what you can expect there, and ways to get a leg up on that part of your transaction. And I can't wait to see you there.